Hi and welcome to Mrs. Goff's Kitchen again. So today we are doing a giant pizza cookie. So we're going to make some cookie dough and I've got my son Johnny in the kitchen to help us today as well. So we're going to start off with 170 grams of margarine. We've got 50 grams of white plain sugar, 150 grams of brown sugar, 250 grams of all-purpose plain flour, 2 teaspoons of cornflour, 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 egg at room temperature, 1 packet, although it really should be about 2 packets of chocolate chips, and some vanilla flavouring because I don't have any vanilla essence. So let's start. Johnny, come on. What we're going to do is we're going to add both sugars to the margarine or the butter, and we're going to cream them with an electric whisk for about 2 minutes. So it's going to be on a high speed, medium to start with, until it's nice and light and fluffy for about 2 minutes. Now, some of you might not have brown sugar in the house, and it is okay to use all white. You perhaps just won't get the same caramelisation or colour that you would normally get with the standard cookie dough. I'm going to bring you back in 2 minutes when it's almost done. So like one of my students, is it done yet? Is it done yet? I don't know, I've got it on film. It adds to the montage. No. I know you didn't want your hand or your voice or anything on film, but it's just fun. And it's really awesome. Okay. And we can stop that. Okay, so you can see the texture now is a lot more creamy, a little bit more whipped up and a lot lighter. What we're going to do now is we're going to add our egg. So Johnny's going to crack an egg into our separate bowl. As you know, guys, I always insist on you cracking your egg into separate bowls so we can check that the egg is of good quality. We pop that on our paper towel. We wash our hands for 20 seconds. No need to sing happy birthday, Johnny. No. Even though this is actually a birthday treat cake. So back in a moment. He's now washed his hands. Why do we need to wash our hands after handling raw egg, Johnny?
Salmonella, Mum.
That's true. Gosh, he's so enthusiastic. This is so different to everyone else that's cooking with their small children. Off you go, pop it in. Right, okay, you can put it on a low speed now. And put it all combined together. That's it. Now you might wonder why we've got a damp tea towel underneath this. It's just to stop the bowl from slipping. Unlike I did on previous videos where my chopping boards are slipping all over the place. That's it, so that's well combined now. Lovely. So what we can do is just scrape down the sides to get all of the mixture in. I'm just using a nice rubber spatula here, which makes it light and easy to get the mix in towards the bottom. Then we're going to add our dry ingredients now and mix those. So we've got 2 teaspoons of corn flour, and the reason we're adding corn flour is because corn flour helps to soften the mixture and just to give that chewy texture that you would normally get from something like a Millie's cookie. We're going to add 250 grams of plain flour. Now this has already been sieved, so we're going to pop that in there now. That's it. We've got 2 teaspoons of bicarbonate of soda and half a teaspoon of salt, which will help bring out the sweetness. But to be honest with you, we've got 200 grams of sugar in there, so it's going to be quite sweet enough to be fair. Okay, we're going to pop this on a very, very, very low speed now. We're going to help just bring that together to start with, so it doesn't have a huge plume in the air of flour. I end up with a dust fight in the kitchen. I'm going to put that on a slow speed now to be able to bring that together to combine it. So it's starting to get a little bit more thicker now, so it'll start to get a little bit more resistance. So you'll see it's getting a little bit more tough. You're going to move the cookie dough around. And intermittently we can stop. And yeah, we're a good tea must do. We can make the cookie dough go down so we get all of the flour mixed in. Okay. What was that I was saying about slipping the tea towel? Okay, I think our dough's ready. Okay, there is one ingredient that we did forget, which is our vanilla essence. Now I don't actually have any vanilla essence, so I'm going to estimate today with some skinny sauce vanilla, which is going to give a little bit of flavour, but not necessarily add any difference to the texture. It is quite strong. In the absence of vanilla essence, this is going to work absolutely fine. So Jenny's, in the meantime, has taken the top off the packet of the chocolate chips. As I say, ideally 200 grams, so 2 packets would be great, but this is what I had in the cupboard. So let's pop those in and evenly distribute them. And put about half the packet in to start with, and then we can press the rest of them in around the dough when it goes into the cookie base. So what we're going to do now is just move them around. So I've prepared a pizza base with tiny little dots of butter underneath just to secure that baking paper down. And we're going to pop this into, the battery's saying low power. I'm going to pop this into our cookie base now, into our pizza tray. And it's just about easing them out. Hey, stop eating the cookie chips, chocolate chips, you. There'll be none left. The idea is that we spread this around now so it goes almost to the edge. Now it will rise a tiny little bit, because we do need a little bit of height in that to make it rise, but it's not like a cake rising too much, so as long as we're spreading it around evenly. Cut it there for a moment while I get the rest of it. So we're now at the position where we can scatter the remaining ones on as evenly as possible. Wow, like a real pro. Well done there, Jenny. And with clean hands we can press those in. Actually, do you know what? I think 200 grams would be quite a lot actually. And just with a clean finger, pop those in, or with the back of a spoon, either or. You don't need to worry so much about the moment of it being quite rough, because it will rise and will find its own level. As long as you've got the majority of it evenly distributed, it will find its own path in the oven. So now I'm going to pop that in the oven for 180 degrees Celsius, gas mark 4, for approximately 20 minutes until well risen and slightly golden brown. I am so excited. It's now out the oven. Doesn't it look lovely and golden brown? Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of its pizza tray to let it cool down. So I'm going to pop it on a cooling tray, and once that's cooled we can get it decorated. So our giant cookie is now resting on the cooling rack, and what this means is the air is able to get underneath and also all around so that it can cool down, ready for decorating with some butter icing. Our cookie is now ready for decoration, so we're going to make some chocolate butter icing. Now this recipe is adapted from Primrose Bakery's recipe and some other experience that I've had along the way, and it's a combination of melted chocolate and cocoa powder with some fresh butter and icing sugar. So I'm not using the most expensive chocolate in the world, but this is a very budget friendly version, and this chocolate melts down really well in the microwave. It was 30 pence from Aldi, and you can get the equivalent from Asda as well. I've melted this in a microwave for 30-second intervals to ensure that it doesn't burn in my bowl, and just keep manoeuvring it around until such time as it's melted fully. I've got a tablespoonful of milk just to help loosen up the mixture if it's required. I've sieved some cocoa powder, let's get that in shot, some cocoa powder and some icing sugar, also sieved that to get lots of air in, and I've got some butter in the bottom of there as well. So in total there's 125 grams of butter, 125 grams of icing sugar, 20 grams of cocoa powder, 15 millilitres of milk, and 75 grams of milk chocolate in total. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to whisk it up very, very gently with an electric whisk. The most important thing at this point to remember is that you should have everything at room temperature. It's starting to come together now. As you can see, just going to stop it and get my spatula just to scrape down the sides. Just need to rinse it from where I was making butter before. So we're going to scrape down the sides so all that icing sugar and cocoa powder gets into our mixture, so you get the correct consistency. There we go. So you start it off again. I'm going to check our consistency. That looks like it's pipeable. What we're going to do now is we're going to add the melted chocolate, because that has cooled down. And it's going to give us a nice glossy sheen when we pipe this on the pizza dough. So it should be very similar to a giant cookie that you get from Millie's for a fraction of the price. Let's have a little look. So I'm actually quite comfortable with that consistency there. I'll show you in a moment. That's perfect to get a nice stiff peak on one of the piping nozzles. So I don't think at this point in time that it's actually required to add any further milk, but if you wanted to, you could add a teaspoon of milk there just to help loosen it up if it doesn't come through the piping bag easily. One of the easiest ways to get your butter icing into the piping bag is to pop it into a beaker or a measuring jug, or if we were at school I'd be asking you to pop them inside the graters which we have. So they're cylindrical graters, and all you do is twist so that there's no air in, and then it's about to come through the bottom through the star nozzle. So we're using a star nozzle for this one, and we've got a closed small round hole for piping of the words. So what we'll do now is we'll bring our cookie back through and start icing. Have a little look. Let's bring that into shot. There we go. Pop that out of the way. What we're going to do now is we're going to ice. We're going to hold our piping bag up vertical and apply a little bit of pressure from the top, never from the middle. You wouldn't survive very long in my household if you're doing that with a toothpaste, I can tell you. So what we're going to do is pop one each side and one here, and that way, depending on how much we have, depends on the spacing, spacing of our little piping rosettes as we go around. And just make sure that they're even. So I'm going to go through one in the middle as we go around. And this just ensures that you don't completely misjudge how much piping you have. Oops, where we go? Right, we've probably got enough for all the way around now. So all we're doing is continually twisting it so that there's a tiny little bit of air in that one. So you've got even pressure and we don't misjudge how little or how much we need. That's not too bad. I think we need a couple in there just to finish it off, and one over there maybe. There we go. So that's all fully piped now. And what we do now is use this one to write a special message on the middle. And there's a message for all of us. Stay safe, guys.